motherfuckers? Welcome back to Pixar. It Didn't Happen. I am Fast King. I am joined as always by my brother, the Yeti. You want to say what's up, homie?
What up, y'all? I managed to hurt myself today, so I'm here for you guys, and I'm just fighting through the pain. It's just killing me.
We appreciate you taking the time. Your room is still blue. I want you to know that. Your room is still very blue.
I'm working on getting more lights, so it's less blue, but it's taking time to get them all set up.
Oh, fucking hell. This is going to be a great one. We're joined today by a very special guest. This is a name in the underground. If you don't know it, you're fucking up pretty heavy. You want to introduce yourselves to the people listening, homie?
Dieabolic the Monster. What's up with y'all, man? Thanks for having me on.
Representing Team She with the charm right there.
Yes, sir.
We love talking to anybody that isn't affiliated with the big two.
Right,
PSY, M&E, we know how it goes. But I love we won't call them underdogs. I like the unsung heroes of the underground. These are the names that I want to speak to more than anybody right now. And thank you for fucking wanting to be on here with us. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, man, absolutely, dude. I've seen y'all's names quite a lot whenever it comes to like being online and stuff like that. I'm not online as much anymore, as much as I used to be, just for, I don't know if it's like whenever I'm kind of in creative mode, you know what I mean? I don't like to be influenced by other shit. I don't like to see what other people's doing. I don't like to, just during that time frame, you know what I mean? And then it's back to the bullshit basically. But
absolutely, I get it. Not to mention, social media is a fucking wasteland, and we're all just trying to surf the shit wave. But you know. So I wanted to talk to you. We got a lot to talk about today, but I want to get the first question out of the way because it's a very easy one. How did you discover hip hop? Like, we'll talk about the wicked shit first, but did hip hop come first, or did the wicked shit come first?
Man, I think hip hop came first, and I think with my music, the way I do my music and the undertones in it and shit like that, you could probably kind of see that a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, it's not necessarily just the scary beat with the scary voice, and you know what I mean? Like, true classic hardcore, not knocking it, you know what I mean? I love a lot of those guys from back in the day, you know what I mean? So obviously influence as well, man. But I think just whenever I had a cassette player of like, I want to think my first tape was like probably Crisscross or some shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? I wanted to wear my clothes backwards and shit.
Yep. I got smacked upside my head. My mom told me to take my ass back in the house and turn my pants the right way and try to go to school that way.
Yeah, that shit was dope back then, you know what I mean? But like shit like that, and then shortly after that, getting my metalhead phase, so the whole Slipknot shit. I had to have every fucking Slipknot t-shirt, and you know what I mean, like, and the skateboarding shit. But yeah, man. So really, like, finding hip hop kind of first, classic rock, and then hip hop. You know what I mean? And I kind of added all these different elements over the years to it, and not necessarily created my own sound, but I just kind of took everything that I love and I try to do that. And hopefully people like it. You know what I mean? Like, where I'm at now, man, I'm almost like, you know, I not that I care or not if people like it, but it's like I'm going to continue to do it whether I get 50 views on a thing or 50,000 on a thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same energy every time. So.
Oh, absolutely. I totally understand that. We're all trying to do this for the passion and the love of something. Like, if money comes, money comes. But it's the love of the game that keeps you going. But
yeah, absolutely, man.
So, how old are you when you find the wicked shit? Because I'm assuming that's the next step that finally kind of completed the picture.
Right, yeah, so I want to think maybe 14 or 15, I'm 35 now, so and back then, man, we kind of had like a juggalo kind of group of cats, mostly like all small cities, you know what I mean? We had the guys that's been down forever, and then we had, you know, and everybody kind of looked up to them for some. Now that I'm older and look back, I'm like, oh shit, for what reason? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They had more juggalo points or whatever the fuck back then. But you know what I'm saying? But so we had that kind of clique and stuff like that, man. And I always kind of felt like I didn't belong always felt like I was the black sheep. Even at my own house, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I think just like a lot of us, man, all the black sheep, all separate from each other, ended up forming our own herd of some sort. So, it's kind of weird whenever we're all the black sheep and we're all meeting up at these concerts together and places like that. And then to be in a place like that and feel like you're a black sheep there, that's where it gets real fucked up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when you feel like you're the black sheep amongst the black sheep, it does feel a little odd.
Yeah, so like even in one of my latest songs that I put out, I mentioned that. Like, so tell me what it means to be the black sheep amongst black sheep. You know what I mean? Because I always kind of feel like my music's always been on the cusp. Like it's going to blow and it don't, and it's always just kind of stuck there in that void. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of people that end up occupying that space because the fan base doesn't give them enough of a chance because you're not rocking face paint, you're not like
right.
And that's something that I feel like a lot of, and I'm not going to say myself, but I'm just saying there's a lot of people in this scene that their scope of what isn't good is so fucking limited that they won't open their minds up to what could be something they've never even thought about, bumping regularly. But horrorcore
over the years too has got so watered down, man, and everybody and their mom, you know what I mean? It almost got to a point where I think a lot of people could agree to this. It's like, man, where's the fans going to go if everybody is an artist? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. I was just thinking.
It kind of got like that, man. So
there's something he and I have in common. I don't know if I'm sure you've seen this with a lot of older cats. There was a point where we left the scene. We went away because, like you just said, the music became so fucking watered down, and it was like it's all the same. And I will say this: it took a lot of acts like similar to you, similar to SON, Mad Max, AXE. It took a lot of acts like that, which brought me back to this scene because there was a level of skill attached to the horrorcore. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I completely agree. And I'm not dogging people that have certain styles or whatever works for you. You know what I mean? I guess. And because that's what I do. I do what works for me, and I try to make something that I would like to hear. And and I try my best at it. Now, whether that succeeds or fails it is what it is. But that's the goal, anyways. Make what I want to hear.
So that explains why you sound a little bit like you sound. Just any key influences, anyone you could name right off the top of your head?
Oh, off the top of my head, probably a group that went by the name Rotten.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you heard old horrorcore days, you know what I mean? Rotten, KGP, Bloodshot, huge fucking Bloodshot fan, especially back in the day, dude. Like and then Insane Poetry.
Oh, I actually just seen him last Saturday. That was fire.
Oh, really? And he's still doing it. How dope is that? You know what I'm saying?
Goddamn horrorcore fucking psycho grandpa with that gray beard, dude. He's even scarier.
So I remember I did a collab with him, man. And this was, I believe I was still in the military, but I did a collab with him, and being such a fan of Insane Poetry for so long, I remember talking to my wife, like, holy shit, I'm about to do a song with Insane Poetry. How cool is this shit? You know what I mean? And then we talked on the phone, and I remember whenever I got off the phone, I was like, holy shit, he sounds like Insane Poetry. You know what I'm saying? Like, like I don't know why, but I was so fucking fanboying out. You know what I mean?
But that shows how much somebody actually means to you, that they can have that effect on you even as an adult. But okay, so we got your influences. We got where it began. At what age did it hit you? I'm gonna be a rapper. Like, that's an odd decision to say. I'm gonna be a doctor. I'm gonna be a fucking whatever. I'm gonna be a rapper is a hell of a choice to make.
Yeah, and it's hard explaining that shit to people too. You know what I mean? Like nowadays, it's like, oh man, you rap, or somebody new that I'm talking to. Where, but yeah, I make music. You know what I mean? It's not like well, you don't act like a rapper. And I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to be doing? Like walking around everywhere, like rhyming everything and shit or something. Like,
that would get boring. That would get boring as fuck. Being stuck talking like Sugar Bear.
Oh yeah, dude, terrible. But I'll say probably the age, probably around 14, 15, man. I had the first couple songs I recorded was on a karaoke machine. So I recorded on a karaoke machine, and I had another karaoke machine facing it. So one would be projecting the music, and then we'd have the microphone up to the speaker, the other one recording it. You know what I mean? And then we used, you remember the desktop computers that had that big ass Bob Barker microphone?
Oh God.
Yup.
So then we would take that and turn on the Windows recorder or whatever, you know what I'm talking about, like the little box. On the we hit that little red button and we'd hold the microphone up to the karaoke machine. That's how we got it onto the computer. And then burnt CDs came out. So boom, I was making like 3-song demos and going to like local like fairs and shit like that, and was walking around selling demos. Like, what the fuck? Ain't you supposed to give them out free?
What was the average price for a Dieabolic demo back in the day?
$2, bro.
$2, Buster. You got that shit.
Hell yeah. I'll walk around with that Walkman on, and motherfuckers be like, hey, can I hear your shit? And hand them the Walkman, and you know what I mean? Let them listen. Got it on skip or whatever.
That technology really helped that out. Just being able to burn your own CDs and be able to have those so you can do samplers. But then it feels like technology just sort of outpaced that. And it's like, well, now we have no physical media. What am I going to do? Carry around an MP3 player? Like, here, check out my stuff. And then, get on your phone and go buy this later.
I mean, flash drives and phones is what it's all come down to now. But like, that's the way of the game. Technology progresses. You either catch up or you get left behind.
I can't wait to see an old school hustler just slinging his SD cards just full of his mixtapes.
It'll happen. So this is a question I've been thinking about trying to ask, and I don't know the responses I'm going to get, but I'll test it here. Was Dieabolic the first name you rapped under?
No. Funny enough, my first rap name was Double Deuce.
Double Deuce.
Oh man, wow! I remember like with the like the paper in school, like drawing what my face paint's going to look like, and doing all that. You know what I mean? Like dreaming, Juggalo Kid. You know?
Oh yeah. No, we were all doing it.
And went from that to Casper the Ghost, DA. Oh shit!
Oh shit!
You know. What I'm saying? Then after that, you know what I mean? I got Dieabolic, which I was at my friend's house, man, and I looked at, it was the back of a DVD case. It was Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yep. And somewhere on the back of it, it said like Diabolical Family from Texas. You know what I mean? And I was just like, Diabolical. I was like, damn, that sounds cool as fuck. And I looked up what it meant and shit like that, spelled it a little bit different. And that's how I ended up getting my name for this shit.
Now, did you notice that when you finally found the name you really wanted, is that when traction started happening and you started to turn corners in these projects and shit? Yeah,
absolutely, man. I think around that time, man, is whenever me, what we kind of had in our group of friends or whatever, like AXE. So like me, Joe, Bill, there was another guy, I can't remember what he went by, but there was a few of us, man, and there was a local haunted house here where they had, which our town ain't very big, you know what I mean, but they got a local haunted house they do every season, and we was cool with the people that ran that shit, and so they started letting us do shows there, which, again, it's not real big in there or anything, but we all ran around on the east end of town, which is where I currently live at.
What town are you talking about for those that don't know?
Oh, this was 2000. Damn, I can't even remember, dude. It's,
what town?
Portsmouth, Ohio.
Of course. I just wanted to make sure that we were talking about that.
Yeah.
This Midwest scene, man, birthed so much shit. Like, it all started like in Detroit-ish. There's some love you can get from Texas and the West Coast, but like, the scene, when it became, really blossomed out of like mostly fucking Ohio.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about, man.
It really is, and you having a hand in that. So, how long were you going solo before you actually ended up joining up with the boys?
I was solo for quite some time. Like, again, I was really one of the few people around here that was actually doing like solo wicked shit. And really, I don't even think there was really groups at the time. Everybody was kind of like gangster rappers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there really wasn't a market for a solo wicked shit artist. Most of them were 2-man or 3-man crews back then.
I think my first song was called Demons, and again recorded on the karaoke machine and shit. And and that was on that demo. So yeah, I really don't think there was too many groups. I know Joe and Billy, me and Billy was real close back then, and I love Joe, but he was always only up at nighttime. You know what I'm saying? So like, I would never see him throughout the day. Which Bill was kind of the opposite. So I'd go down and kick it with him, and eventually, I remember them talking about they're going to start rapping and stuff. And around that time's whenever we all kind of linked up. So well, fuck, I'm glad y'all are getting into this shit. You know what I'm saying? And boom, like they started rapping themselves. It wasn't like I had any influence on them.
Yeah.
But it just kind of all happened at the same time. And me and Bill started making music together, and we started a group and shit back then.
And what was the name of that group?
It was called Better Off Dead.
Okay.
It was me and Bill, and I think at the time he went by Mr. Madman, and I just went by Dieabolic. Like the monster part of it wasn't even
added yet.
Yeah, so which I would like to see if there's any tape. We performed at the 06 gathering or the 07 gathering, me and Bill. And it was on one of the side stages, but I remember that's the first time we did like a show as that group.
Yeah. If anybody's listening or have any fucking video from 07 gathering that might know, we'd love you guys to send that in. We'll see what we can do about getting that sent to you.
It's kind of crazy that kind of stuff is gonna kind of become like the forgotten freshness sort of our scene and our group of people, because you start going and like, oh yeah, man, I did this back then, and like, oh, I don't even have that anymore, and then just 20 years from now on whatever social media platform that people are using, some random person will be like, hey, I got these crazy videos from back in the early 2000s, and there's all kinds of crazy freshness that like people just haven't seen. It's crazy, and I think that's going to be real cool to see.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a lot of people that don't know that you were in a group with. We're in the group. There's a lot of people that joined in. The M&E during the M&E years, they didn't know. I myself being one of them, I had to go back and fucking get introduced to you and your catalog afterward. So I'm very interested in how that came about. How, like, if they were already doing AXT, how you joined the group. You know what I mean?
Well, back then, man, it was they was called Maniacs.
Yeah.
So back then they was Maniacs, and then we was kind of building a thing where it was like Joe and Billy was kind of together because I lived on the hilltop back then. This is Portsmouth, Ohio still, but I lived on the hilltop and they lived down here on the East End, and they probably only lived like a street away from each other. So they was around each other quite a lot, and quite more than I could really get down here. You know what I mean? Yeah. So they started up the Maniacs thing and really started digging and putting all this effort into it and stuff like that, man. So we all kind of built a thing almost based off of how Psychopathic did shit. Like they was going to be the ICP Twisted. Like I was going to be the Blaze ROC type. You know what I mean? Like,
it's real funny you mentioned that, because I was over here sitting here thinking when you were saying how you guys were all coming out of the same area, the same nucleus. It was reminding me a lot of how Monoxide used to talk about how House of Crazies was always on the same tip as Crazy Clan, Blaze, Eminem. Like they all knew each other and they were all working in the same circles. I'd open this show, you're gonna headline, you headline this show, I'll open that one. Right. And that's so fucking crazy to think that it's the same formula. And it's working.
It's weird to think about, dude. Like, so whenever we would do those shows at that haunted house, because that's really the only place we was doing shows at, and it would be like, oh, Diabolic's playing right before Maniacs. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Which there was always something about Maniacs, even back then, where it was like, you know, years later, whenever we went our separate ways or whatever, even then I said, y'all are the next ICP. Like, it, not that, but like, we always kind of knew.
Yeah.
There's something here. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It was that kind of shit. So, but yeah, it's crazy, man, how much lineage or it lines up with shit that's happened before. Like, history repeats itself in some way.
Absolutely. So, did they ask you to join? Did you ask to join? Like, how did that play out?
I'm not 100% certain. I just know we was kind of around each other all the time. So I just think over time we did so many fucking songs together, man, that, you know, back
like,
then,
why not?
Yeah, it was like, all right, like it wasn't no official, hey, do you want to be in the group type shit. Years later, it was like, hey, man, what do you think about rocking with this now? And you know what I mean? And we did our thing for a while then as well. But yeah, I don't really remember. I remember like me and Joe recorded on that same karaoke machine. Like, that's how far back.
Yeah.
You know, we recorded in a garage, and the song's called Bottle of Bones. And I would, dude, if there's a song that I could dig up and find, that's one I really want to hear, because he went by Holy Horror back then. And so it was Holy Horror and Dieabolic, Bottle of Bones, man. And it was just, I'll never forget recording that, you know what I mean, in that garage.
That's so crazy to think about how far you guys have come. So, any road stories? Did you guys tour a little while as AXE together before you parted ways?
We did the UPestival.
Yeah.
Or UPestival, or however you say it.
I'm so bummed I missed out on on those experiences. I can only find out about that shit through talking with the cats that was there. What was UPS like? Like, I don't know a whole lot of people. I talked to some Whipstick and a few cats. Like,
yeah, I mean, I didn't really know them like that. I knew like Low Key was cool with Bill, Joe, and all that shit. And so, yeah, I really didn't know what I was getting into. I didn't really know the people there. I never personally met Low Key or anybody like that. I know like Dirty, I talked to him a few times on Facebook and shit. So I kind of went into it blind. You know what I mean? It was love going up there and doing that. And me not knowing what the fuck Black Velvet is. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
it's like Black Velvet. I'm in there like, oh shit, like, oh, y'all serve Black Velvet here? And the girl's like, yeah. I was like, so is that like top shelf liquor or is it whatever? And she's like, yeah, it's top shelf. And I was like, fuck, like, I don't know what I got myself into, but I ended up getting smashed ass drunk that night. And the whole ride back from Pennsylvania to Ohio, I was hung over in the back of the van with Joe turning around and folding his mask up and making it look fucking weird and talking to me and shit. It was terrible, but great. You know what I'm saying? Like,
all right, so you guys rocked the shit. You guys did you did an album together. The reception was pretty fucking good. But you part ways. We won't go into why, because that's nobody's business. You're on your own. You've been on your own before, so this is nothing new. What was your immediate first steps? Where did you go? What did you do afterward?
So I did the military thing, and I don't mind to talk about what kind of happened with the split. You know what I mean, like, of us, because it wasn't really anything negative. You know, at the time I was dating a girl and she was pregnant, and I was raised without a father. I don't know what dads do. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So a lot of us, right? But so around that time, man, I'm like, oh, I gotta do some real man shit. Like, I don't know what the fuck. I'm working at KFC. I'm like, I can't raise a kid working here. Like, I'm freaking out. So I thought the manliest thing to do, I guess, was fucking join the military or something to try to provide a life, you know? So I ended up going into the military for 6 years. I was in the Army. And that is so fucking crazy. Man, I was overseas listening to Maniacs do an interview with, I think it was like Hatchet Man Radio, some shit like that. But I remember listening to them while I'm overseas. You know what I mean? So like, even I was even connected while I was gone in some type of way. But
that's so crazy because Yeti literally did the exact same thing. He felt like he had to do some kind of manly shit and join the fucking army. So that's something to do with him having in common. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah,
great
which
choices all around.
Yeah, which I'm hesitant to sign any papers now for anything. But I'm sorry, what was the question you asked right before that, brother? I apologize.
Oh shit, I can't even fucking remember.
I'm trying to think, man. I fucking went off on a tangent a little bit.
Oh, you're good. What I said was, so you parted ways with the group. You said you did it because you had to do man shit, which, you know, it sucks that you had to miss out on what was the ground floor, but you're on your own. You get out of the military 6 years later.
Right.
And you knew music was what you wanted to do when you came home. Right.
Yeah. It's always been in my DNA. You know what I mean? Like even whenever I was still doing music. Like that's when I did the Insane Poetry collab and collab with Mars. Like that's when I made the Gator Boy album. You know what I mean? And I lived in like the Georgia, Florida line almost. So I don't know.
You released that independently?
On LSP.
Oh, okay. So how did you get linked up with Scum and all them boys?
So what happened before that was I seen Dark Half, which I discovered or whatever, and I'm like, wow, these guys are the fucking truth. You know what I mean? That's when Dark Half was really booming. Mm-hmm. And they was talking about starting this label, their own side label and stuff like that. And was like, send in your EPKs, your electronic press kit, whatever, with songs, pictures, stuff like that. So I sent it in, and I ended up hearing back from Gino. I believe it was Gino that messaged me and said that they liked my shit. We conversated a while about, you know, just music shit. And eventually they said, hey, we want you to be a part of Jonestown Records, which is what they were starting up. It was like Bloody Ruckus, a few other cats on there. And they was like, yeah, we want you to come out to Wisconsin to perform, man. You can stay at Damien's house and all this. And I'm just like, damn, this is really fresh. You know what I mean? So we end up, me and my wife traveling out there, doing some shows, hanging out with the Dark Half. And some years later, they said, we're absolving the label. We really can't focus on it right now. You know, all this other stuff, which at the time they're blowing up the way they are, understandable. Yeah. And they basically said, like, we don't want you to crumble down with it. You know what I mean? We don't want to just like let you fall with the label, basically. It's like, we're talking to Scum, we're talking to blah, blah, blah. And so that's how the LSP thing happened, was through Dark Half for me.
Oh, no shit. And what was your time on LSP like? Like, how did that play out?
Man, it was a very, very big learning experience for me as far as like learning the business side of things. So I've always kind of done it for fun and out of passion, but I never knew the business side of it. Mm-hmm. How much really goes into it. And
so it's basically like going to music school.
Yeah, pretty much, man. Like, and I credit LSP for that a lot. Like, they showed me the ropes, what to do, what not to do. And a lot of that I had to find out for myself. You know, so being around those people in the same label as Insane Poetry and Dark Half and all these guys, like, I felt like it made me step my game up a little bit more too. Because I seen what all these guys had and I wanted it.
Yeah, you know, they really say that the people that you hang around with are really influence the things that you're going to do. And obviously they're going to give you, pass their knowledge along to you. I think that it's something to the effect of, you know, if you want to be a millionaire, go hang out with 5 other millionaires because you'll be the 6th.
Right. So, I mean, steel sharpens steel. That's just what everyone knows. If you want to be good at something, surround yourself with people that are fucking good at that thing.
Yeah, I mean, you know, being around people that are gonna push you, motivate you, and help you, it is important. So the people that you have around you, take stock of that every once in a while.
Yeah, you know, it's like I was saying, you know, steel sharpens steel. You are the people who you surround yourself with, and you were surrounded by some straight up fucking killers. On that roster, what do you think you learned the most, say, lyrically wise? Would it be Scum, Gino, Insane Poetry?
Lyrically wise, man. First off, I met Smalls One which
she's a fucking beast.
Which, dude, I've never seen a female have a stage presence and rap the way she did and all that. You know what I mean? Like in person, I never seen it. So, seeing her perform for the first time was fucking amazing, man. Me and her clicked. Yeah, ended up becoming my sister. Now, as far as like lyrics, I already knew Insane Poetry was on his shit, and I just felt like at the time I brought a different element.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so which now LSP's kind of got that slot, I feel like, in a way, because now there's like Donnie Menace, you know what I mean? So it's like that element is still added to it. And I think there was one guy actually before me that kind of, so I don't know, man, it was just like that element kept kind of filling itself.
Well, it's something we talked about on this show before. You can be as dark and wicked as you want, but you have to really, really be on your craft to be a part of the scene anymore. If all you're doing is rhyming dead in head, nobody's listening anymore, brother. You have to really step up your fucking game. And it's because of acts like you and acts like my boy Mad Max and acts like, you just mentioned Donnie Menace. They're killers in this game, and if you are not ready to be involved, you'll get swept up. And I'm just giving you props for being in that list. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you. Yeah, man, I feel honored to be mentioned in that. You know, man, it's not very many times that, you know, when somebody does their top 10 list, that Dieabolic the Monster's name is in it, and you know, it's like it's not something that it feels good to see. You know, whenever I am mentioned.
I've only just recently been introduced to you in the last maybe 2 years, as far as your solo shit. But I'm a big fan, and I have no problem putting you in those categories.
It's amazing, yeah. Thank you.
But so you how many albums did you end up releasing on LSP?
We did Gator Boy released on there, and then after that we released. Me and Smalls One put out an album as Dead Days, an album called Hypnosis, which I think is a very slept on album, man. She absolutely crushes it on there. We get there's a Dark Half collab on there, still one of my favorite songs I've ever been a part of, for various reasons. But just collabing with her and creating a whole new sound, man, has definitely helped with how I've kind of been built as an artist.
Yeah.
You know, like, because I hit a lane that I wasn't really too familiar with, and we complemented each other well. Shout out to Smalls One.
Yeah. She kind of reminds me of Tech in the sense of a small person with a stage presence that's like 10 feet tall.
Oh yeah, of a monster for sure. Yeah.
That's got to be like a rock star thing or something. Like, it seems like all the names that you're just like, oh, they must be like just these huge monstrous people because they have all this energy. And it's like, no, dude, they're like 5'3".
Right. Yeah.
Like Corey Taylor is not a large man.
No, not at all.
He is the only thing in that room. Like, every eye is on him. So it's really, I don't know if it's just something that is just, it happens to be a coincidence, or if that's just something that because they are a smaller stature, they sort of find ways to outwardly present themselves more than other people will. I don't know. I just thought it's really interesting that's a pretty common thing.
Yeah, that's an interesting observation though, man. Like, you don't see real big motherfuckers on stage like that. I agree. Like, the last person I've seen that's like a real big ass dude or whatever is like Buckshot. You know what I mean? Like, it's rare though you see like big ass dudes on stage like that.
Lee Carver, he's a big motherfucker.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Or like, you know, I always just imagine like, oh, Tech must be like 6 foot something.
No, first time I met him, I didn't believe it was him.
Like, no, you're not.
No, the fuck you're not.
Cosplay shit.
Yeah.
I wonder how many times you get that.
Yeah.
So you did the two projects on LSP. Going forward off of that, what was your feelings? Do you think you felt like you'd gotten to a good point so you can be on your own? Or how did you get linked up with Team She? I guess would be the next
So the Team She thing, man, like I had kind of taken a hiatus from music, man. I don't know if it was a depression thing or what. You know, we all got our mental shit, and
Yep.
so I don't know if it was necessarily that or what, but I kind of took a hiatus, man. And whenever I came back, um, it was about a year. Probably the worst thing that you could do with any momentum, anyways, is kind of disappear. But
Yep.
so whenever I came back, man, I started dropping song after song after song. And me and Don O'Rias, which he's changed his name now, but me and Don O'Rias started Sit Gang, which ended up spreading kind of in Texas a little bit. And they got their own kind of faction down there now with like Class and Champa and people like that, man. Mm-hmm. So they were Sit Gang hard down there, which is dope, bro. Just, I don't know. Sometimes it's crazy. Like, it's crazy to me sometimes, like, shit that was once thoughts turns into like a physical fucking thing that you can see, touch, feel it in your heart,
something you straight up fucking created. You watch it grow. It's crazy feeling.
Yeah. So we was doing music together for a while, man, at Sit Gang, me and Don O'Rias, and the first She Fest was happening, and I know Don was like, I'll help you get on the show. It was a 2-day thing. It was at 2 different venues. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Let's do some Sit Gang shit up there, talking all that. And it was in Indiana, which ain't too far from me in Portsmouth, Ohio. So we made the drive and went there. And in the hotel, Don come up to my hotel room and he was talking to me. He was like, man, he's like, I've been talking to Razakel about you and putting in a good word and this and that. Like, you already know what to do. Go out there and do your fucking thing, whenever we do these shows. So the first night I performed and she wasn't there. So I was kind of bummed out a little bit. Like, fuck, man, I wish you could at least seen my shit. And because that bitch was rocking, bro. Like, had a lot of people in there. And again, I wasn't too familiar with the whole She thing. It was kind of new.
Yeah.
But I was familiar with Razakel, of course. Like, in my opinion, the queen of the horrorcore shit, in my opinion. But so the next night we was performing at Carl's Tavern.
Love that fucking place. Oh, I love that fucking place.
So the show, the second day was supposed to be there, and I didn't know where I was at on the lineup or whatever. So Razakel kind of come up to me and she was like, hey, so you're going to open up. Like, you're going to be the first act, basically. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, oh, yeah, no problem. Yeah, cool. I got you. So I was, leading all the way up to that. Like, somebody come up to me and was like, she has reasons why she does shit. I just want you to know. And I'm like, no, I'm cool, bro. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm humble like that. I wasn't about to, and I think that was probably the reason. This is me speculating, but to see like what's this dude's ego like before I start fucking with him, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because like a different person could have been like, fuck that. Don't you know who I am? You want me to open?
Right. And she's a genius like that, bro. Like, I give her a lot of fucking credit, man. And so I did my thing, man, and had fun doing it. And so talks later on, really just shortly after that, man, not too long after that. So what do you think about joining up with us and all that? And that's kind of how I got on the She.
Nice. It's cool when the audition is literally the concert. You know what I mean? That's got to be like asking the football player to throw the ball.
Right. Yeah. So, and again, it's a lot of that speculation, man. I don't know if that was truly what the deal was, or there just wasn't no fucking room on that show or whatever. But my anxiety tells me anyways that, oh, okay. Which is a smart way to do it for real if you're going to put somebody on your team.
Well, like I was saying at the beginning, I like talking to the unsung heroes of this shit. And that symbol is one of them. LSP, LLE, Team She, you guys are what's going to happen when, and I'll just say this, when ICP's finally done, this is where we're going. This is, and guys like Cody Manson, guys like you, fucking Absolutely. Darby O'Trill, who I just got to meet just recently and is cool as fuck. you guys are the ones who are going to keep this shit going. And I'm getting older, but I'll keep doing this until I'm dead. That's just how it's going to be. But we can't do this without the soundtrack, and it takes you guys to be a part of that.
Straight up, man. And not just saying this because I'm on the team, but the way I kind of looked at She and the way we all talked about it, or me and Raz at first, was like everybody on that label is kind of like what you're talking about. So like the unsung hero type people, like people like Hard Jaws, like he's not a real big name, but like every song I listen to that he puts out is quality. It's bangers. It's, you know what I mean? And everybody that's on the squad, it's almost like the island of misfit toys, bro. Like
HB.
Yeah, HB, see what I mean? Like, and there's a lot of talent over there. And again, it's just kind of tucked away. Cause like you said, man, and I'm even one of those guys, I'm hesitant to hit play on somebody's shit, like a new music video. Cause how many times have we been let down?
You're absolutely fucking right. And,
so
it does.
I'm hesitant to even check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, it gives you this hard, calloused over shell that it makes it hard for new music to get through. And personally, that's why I love going to concerts the way I do, because I listen to the track live and then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go and hear that what it is on the Spotify or wherever it is that it's streaming from, you know, and then I'm like, okay, what is the difference between on stage versus on the album? And sometimes that right there is my difference. If you're not, if you're only good on the album but you aren't good live, it's like, you know what I mean? And that's something that I feel like a lot of guys need to really do is tighten up their live show. But that's a bitch on my own part. That's something separate. So now you are really fucking making waves. Your name's getting out there a lot more than it was before. You get invited to do the first camp. Thank you for freezing your balls off with us. We appreciate that. But the first one was a prototype. The second one, this is the one we're all really stoked. We're so stoked about your performance. I did not see you the first year because the drugs caught a hold of me and I don't know where I was.
Oh, I the best way to put it, brother. Like,
but I made sure me and the old lady were very close, if not front row for your performance. You have a great live set. It's fucking awesome.
Thank you, brother. And that's something that I'm building on now, you know, and taking constructive criticism. So like, even you yourself, if you want to shoot me a message, bro, and be like, hey, yeah, I think you should add blah, blah, blah to it. Like, I really take that shit into consideration because, you know, and there's like the catacombs, like I'm working with some cats out of there.
Oh, we love them boys. That's the homies. Luke,
so Cam. Yeah, so, you know, maybe this, maybe that. And it's all part of the growing, man. I take it as constructive criticism, man. I don't take it as hate, anything like that. Any way I could better myself, I'm definitely going to try to do so. The first camp, by the way, I was actually surprised that I got invited to it in a way because me and AXE haven't talked for, I mean, it's been years, you know? And with the newfound success and blowing up on M&E, I didn't want to be another guy in the inbox, you know, like,
yeah, hey, but that's
type shit. Like,
yeah, no, I get that entirely.
Yeah, man, I just didn't want to be that guy, and I think there was some hate between each other at the very beginning, man, of all that stuff kind of blowing up. But again, I get what that's like in a way because whenever I first got signed to LSP, I did have an ego. And again, from the whole learning process and this shit and where I'm at now, I recognize that back then I had an ego, dude. So whenever I would be in my hometown or whenever I'd be somewhere else, I'd kind of have that feeling in me that was like, man, like, you don't know what the fuck I'm doing. You know what I mean? I'm getting in planes to do shows, motherfucker. Like, I ain't trying to hear, you know what I mean? That, like, maybe I wasn't saying that exact shit, but that's kind of how.
You were kind of like, fucking, what's the word I want? Projecting that.
Yeah. So the whole thing was like, don't you know who I think I am?
Yeah. There's a lot of motherfuckers that are stuck in that phase too.
Yeah, dude. So I'm glad. And again, like I said, that's probably where I learned the most was LSP days because like I recognized all that and learned from it and stuff like that. And I just kind of figured whenever they first got signed to M&E and all that stuff was kind of blowing up, I was like, oh yeah, that was me in a way, you know, like I kind of had that shit in me too, that I was like, man, Like, you see what's happening right here. I'm the shit, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So, and maybe I'm completely wrong about it. We just didn't really talk. One night I'm at the house and I told my wife, I was like, man, I'm tired of hating these motherfuckers, bro. And I'm sure that they're talking shit about me. I'm hearing things, rah. So she was like, go up there. And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, let's get in the car now and go up there.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I'm like, okay. So we drive over to the church and there's a bunch of cars outside. And I walk up, knock on the door. Nobody answers for a minute. And I seen somebody walk by. And I was like, hey, will you let Bill know I'm out here? And he's like, yeah, I got you. And kind of gave me the cold shoulder, like, yeah, I got you. So I knew two things was going to happen. I was like, we're either going to fight or we're going to hug.
Yeah.
Two things are going to happen right now, and I'm prepared for either one, I guess. Like, I'm here. And so knock on the door, wait a minute. He comes out, and it was just kind of small talk, like, like basically turn around at the church, like, man, this could have been us. This, those kind of conversations, to which I responded, like, with Lee being a part of that group and the way he fit in at the time that he did and the way they found him and all that shit, like, it was a perfect fucking storm. Lee is perfect for that group. You know what I mean? And he's a beast, and I'm happy and proud for all that shit.
Yeah.
And I explain that, but it ended up being, I'm glad you come up here like a man to talk to me and vice versa. And we hashed out our shit. And then whenever the first camp happened, now I get a fucking email. Hey man, would you like to come perform up at the first camp? So really I got to credit my wife, because had not been for her, I wouldn't have went up there that night and squashed everything.
That's fucking dope. And then that we get this full circle moment this year where you come out and perform in the trunk live in front of,
how crazy is that?
All the fucking Zooligans, which, no bullshit, we were all hoping for at Camp 1. But, again, right. Prototype, we're all figuring things out. Again, things are going to happen at their own speed. And that's something we as fans need to understand.
Yeah, so, like, even the first one, though, I was in the crowd, like, jumping around, singing their verses to fucking the trunk. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Just hyped to be back in it, man. And, I don't know, back into the mix of things and seeing what was built and seeing these fucking huge ass banners hanging up everywhere. I was just like, holy fuck, it was like so much to take in. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Like, Joe, you remember when we recorded on a karaoke machine? You know what I mean? So, like, seeing this is like,
yeah,
it's fucking amazing, man. Proud of those guys. Happy for them.
Well, but, saying that, what do you see you doing in the future? What's up next for you?
Right now, what I'm doing is actually creating like a merchandise type of line. I've never really invested in myself that much as far as stuff like that goes. So doing T-shirts, going to put out actual physical CDs, just stuff I've kind of neglected over the years because I focused so much on dropping a new song every week or dropping as much as I can, but in the physical actual form of it, I never really, I guess you could say, bet on myself.
And that's a big thing that you have to be able to be willing to do. If you want to be any kind of entertainer, not just a rapper. If you want to do this shit that involves not the day job, you got to really bet on your fucking self, and that's something a lot of motherfuckers don't do.
And that's a huge thing, man. And I'm glad all this shit's happening now, because had it would have happened back whenever I was talking about like the ego thing, like who knows how bad I could have fucked it up.
Yep.
That's really, so I'm glad I went through this shit whenever I went through it, because now I got a clear mind and understanding of how shit works, how I need to approach things and stuff like that. So, I mean, if you're a hobbyist type of person and you just like making music, that's cool, man. Like, even if you're dope, people still going to listen to you. But if you really want to build and stuff like that, I guess my advice would be like to any other artist that maybe even thinking about it or watching this, bet on yourself. If you think you're dope and your friends around you think that you're dope or whatever, talk to him, man, and I guess talk to yourself. Like, do I really think I'm that dope? And if so, and I hate to say it, put your money where your mouth is. I had a conversation with Esham one time, and this has been years back, like back in the Dark Half days. Yeah. And I asked him, I was like, what does it take to make it? And he was like, you want me to be honest with you? And I said, absolutely. Like, I'm over here like, oh my God, it's fucking Esham, you know? Right. And he said, what's it take to make it? He said, money. I hope I didn't hurt your feelings. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, but that's real shit though. That's real shit. You cannot do this with just heart and talent. And that's not me being mean. That's just how the fuck it is.
Yeah.
You have to back yourself. You have to bet on yourself. You have to pay for yourself.
And it's scary, man. I think I've gotten to where I've gotten at based off of like you just said, the skill and the art and the shit like that. But it only gets you, I feel like, to a certain level.
It's a great foundation. It's the perfect way to get fucking started. But you have to build from there to be a complete entertainer.
Well, yeah, you have to have the brand. You know, there's the stage show.
Oh,
did you buy
the
lights?
branding.
Nobody, like, how many of you got these guys out here like getting their own light kits and smoke machines and really developing?
I can only name one. I can only name one motherfucker right now who's really trying to do that.
Yeah. And I mean, I know lights are expensive, but you know, those are things you got to think about. Like, that's all part of the thing, is like that because that live state, that live presence, that's when you get to connect with all your fans. Like, there's that one-on-one, like, you know, really get to shine and be there with everybody. And if you just get up there and, you know, stand on the stage and rap, okay, right. Well,
that brings me to my next question. Do you rehearse your performances?
Not so much anymore. Like, I'll take that back. I say probably the week of, I'll kind of go over my set, make sure that it's spliced together right. Like, there's no skips or anything like that in it. You know what I mean? And I'm a fucking nervous wreck all the way up until the show, hoping that the fucking thumb drive even works. Like, I always got that anxiety for that for some reason. But yeah, I guess I kind of rehearse it. Now, what sucks is, like, I've recorded in so many different places, and the guy that mixes my music now, he was the original guy that mixed us back in the Maniacs days.
Yeah.
So he still mixes my shit now, which is, you know, that's something that I hold near and dear to my heart. Shout out to Brain Dead.
Oh, yeah.
Me and Bill and all them used to go out to his house to record, you know, out in the woods and shit. And, but yeah, it's cool to still have him doing all my mixing and my sound stuff. But with that being said, man, like, I've recorded in so many different places that I don't have a lot of the original files, a lot of the songs that I still perform or do every now and then. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of hard to get like just the instrumental for some of them and stuff like that. But it is what it is. I work with
that's something that a lot of fans don't know when they're like, hey man, why don't you perform this track live anymore? Sometimes motherfuckers just don't have it anymore. And that's something I've only just recently learned in the last 2 or 3 years from being friends with artists. Because I finally asked the question, hey man, why don't you do that shit live? No, oh man, this shit got deleted. You know what I mean?
Like that, man, you know? And the whole like rapping over vocals type shit that people say and people that are real passionate about it, man, the way I've always looked at it is like, you get the fuck on stage then.
See, that's why I do my best. That's why I do my best to never talk shit about anybody who's on stage, because I'm not fucking up there. He's better than I am.
And again, it's like, why even say, you know what I mean? I don't say nothing about, and sometimes it's good, sometimes it sucks, sometimes, I mean, it is what it is. It's all based on opinion, you know what I mean? Like the songs that I have done that is over vocals or whatever, I've never had somebody come up to me and go, hey man, it would have been a lot fucking better if, you know what I mean? Like, I've never had that. Everybody's there for a good time. It is what it is.
Well, that's cool that you've never had that shitty experience, because I've watched it happen to people before.
Really?
Yeah.
And you know, not making excuses or nothing. I don't have a hype man. I don't know. I just do what I fucking do, and if you like it, you like it. If not,
See, there's an art to that, and I see people who they've explained to me what the hype man's there for. I know he's there for you to catch your breath, but you not having one, what do you do to get that extra breath you need, or do you just fucking blow through it?
Really just and the songs I know so well too now that there just really ain't been anybody that not that I can't trust somebody, but I haven't had anybody that's like solid enough to constantly fill that role. So yeah. and I try not to rely on people too much. So yeah, man, I just, to be honest with you, I don't know, man. I just got so comfortable from, even back in the day from starting to do this shit by myself that I almost feel a little bit more comfortable up there by myself. Would it be cool to have a fucking hype man? Hell yeah. That'd be fucking dope. You know what I mean? Might even make the show a little bit liver and shit, but it is what I got.
Well, like you said, it's a bitch to trust people. When you put too many hands on the project, that's when shit gets fucked up. And I know people who've had their hype man and so not show up the day of, and it's like, God damn, I needed you, and where was you? So I get your feelings on that. What do you think, if you could, besides the betting on yourself, is there anything else you could tell young artists getting started, or 15-year-old you, if you could tell him some things to keep him from making the same mistakes? You know what I mean?
The dream isn't what you think it is. If I be realistic, be realistic about it, it's cool to dream, and it's cool to. Like, I couldn't have wrote back then what's going to happen in my music career and how it's going to happen and stuff like that. I just had to, as it was happening, I had to try to make the good decision. So I guess as far as a new artist or 15-year-old me, I would say do what in your heart you think is the right thing to do. And we all know right from wrong. If you're being shady towards somebody, if you're sliding somebody or whatever the fuck. Like, if you can avoid from doing those things, man, and do what you think in your heart is the next fucking right thing to do, as long as you're true to you about that kind of shit, because you gotta go home with you. You gotta continue to, you know what I mean? It's you locked inside of that, in front of that microphone. You know what I mean? So like, you gotta take care of your fucking, I guess your soul, your star player, whatever you want to call it. Because if that ain't taken care of, everything else falls apart anyways.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely fucking right. I've often wondered what these shady characters do when they look in the mirror. I've always wondered when someone who, a shady promoter or an artist who has no problem taking money but not giving back the fucking features. I've always wondered, how the fuck do you look in the mirror? How hard is it for you to face up with yourself? But
that's the thing. They don't laugh.
Slope.
What was that, Paul?
I said that's a slippery slope. I found myself thinking things like that, and then you start thinking about like the serial killers and just the terrible people in the world, and these crazy people that just send people to their death, and you're like, there's some just, how do people think this way? And it's not a hole you want to fall into. So
right.
Don't think too far into that sometimes.
I think a lot of it, man, is like my brain is remember them older TVs, man, that had like right now. The plug-in jacks on the TV or whatever.
Yeah.
So I've kind of looked at myself like that, man. Like, what's my input? What am I actually putting in, like, the input slots or whatever? And like he was just saying, if you're putting yourself around people like that, and you said steel sharpens steel, iron sharpens iron, whatever, but if you're putting yourself around shit like that and that's your constant input, then that's going to affect what you're projecting, just like a TV, man. That's how I look.
Absolutely. If you conduct yourself around garbage, you will become garbage.
Amen, dude.
Yeah. But what I was saying was, if you could have any collabo with anyone, dream collabo, underground or mainstream, you could work with any artist, who would it be?
Bootleg of the Dayton Family.
Nice. I am a Dayton Family fucking fan. I like. It's funny because everybody thinks horrorcore metal when they look at me, but my hip hop roots go fucking deep, and Dayton Family is one of my favorites.
Yeah, see how quick I said that shit too. Like,
yeah, That's something you've thought about. But you know what, though? They fucked around with the clowns, so they know about our scene. That's something you could make happen.
How cool would that be, man? Like, I would. I know for sure that. I don't know if you remember Funk Volume. You remember that big? Whenever they was pushing like Hobson and all them Funk Volume.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
There was a guy on there named Swizz.
Oh yeah.
I know. You know what I mean? I would love to do a song with that dude. And again, a lot of these aren't collabs that I'm like, oh, this will get me the most views. You know, it ain't like that.
No, it's just shit you as an artist want to do.
That's it, man. I'm like, oh, if I work with this cat, or like LU Cypher. I don't know if you remember them from back in the day.
I think I've heard the name.
Yeah, old school horrorcore, LU Cypher. Actually, Q Strange.
Yeah.
I got crazy stories about that dude, but you know what I mean?
If you can't tell that on air, that's cool. But yeah, man, fucking we really appreciate you doing this. Like, I know that we had some hiccups or whatever, timing wise or whatever, but I appreciate the fuck out of this. And I want to ask one more question before we let you go. If you could have any product, if you could make any product for not musically wise, what would you like to put the Dieabolic name on?
Not music wise, you said?
Not music wise. Like, you know how Jay-Z's got Ciroc vodka and shit like that?
Right. To be honest, man, probably I kind of like what actually my homie Dean is doing this right now. The whole like grill barbecue seasoning type shit. I'm actually smoking right now. So like it's been smoking for probably 10 hours. But that's something I do to actually like kick back and relax with the family type shit. But my youngest son is in the pool right now. You know what I mean? Just kind of being in my own world back there, and kicking it with the fam and drinking a little bit or whatever and just enjoying my evening drama free. But I would have to say, man, probably something like that. Either that or I'd like to get into like the autograph industry, man. Like buy and sell like trading cards and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like a big nerd whenever it comes to that shit too. So probably either like the autograph business and trading cards and the card collecting business, and probably that, man, grilling and shit.
That's actually really fucking cool. Especially with the whole cooking thing. That's something you could consider maybe at a later date for online content. Cooking with Dieabolic. Oh,
that would be dope. Yeah. Hell yeah, you're gonna have to co-host with me or something, bro.
Hey, fuck it, we'll figure something out. Portsmouth ain't that far from fucking Covington.
Yeah, hell yeah.
But no, okay, so this has been fucking awesome, man. I can't thank you enough for doing this. And anything you want to say before we let you go?
Thank you guys for having me, man. Again, you know, I got this merchandise stuff coming out, so definitely keep an eye on that. And go check out Team She, man. There's a lot of sleepers on there that I think a lot of people would be really happy that they found. You know, that's just my opinion, and it might seem biased or whatever, but it's really how I feel. Not only are they my friends, but like shout out Ritual of Ether and our group Underlords. We're working on shit, about to put out an album, and I'm working on the season 1 of Monster Mondays, so it's almost done. So a lot of albums and merch is about to start coming, and hopefully you guys are there with me to watch this wave happen and see how it does.
And where can they find you on social media? Where can they find your music, shit like that?
Right now, man, I'm putting a lot of stuff on YouTube just for the fact that like I'm trying to map everything out and stuff like that as far as like the Spotify shit goes. For now, man, I'm dropping everything on YouTube free. I mean, you could use one of them sites and steal the song off that bitch. Just shoot me a video of you bumping that shit in your car or something, you know? And if you don't want to buy my shit, don't buy it. Ask me, man, hey, can you send me these fucking songs, and I don't mind to email them to you, bro. Like, I'm a very humble dude, man, and I'm doing this shit because I love it, and I'm doing this shit because of people like y'all, man. Thank y'all for wanting me to do this interview. It means a lot, and continued success to y'all. If y'all ever need anything, holler.
Thanks so much, man.
You can find us at Pixar It Didn't Happen Official on Instagram, at Pixar It Didn't Happen on YouTube, at Pixar It Didn't Happen on Facebook. I'm Fats King if you want to find me, but all I'm good for is fucking memes and promoting my podcast, so you're not going to find anything fun there. And yeah, do you want to talk about you?
Content.
You want to tell them about you?
I mean, on the Yeti Night, you can find me Instagram. I throw some pictures up there. Facebook. I mean, you
check out his toy photography that's going to be coming soon, motherfuckers.
Oh, hell yeah.
I gotta buy more lights. Lights are the bane of my existence. So that's my advice to anybody out there. Buy more lights. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.